Welcome, this is Leicester Fan TV. Take two. Hopefully you can hear me. That's going to be the first thing I want to know is if you can hear me. We just, well, I was talking away to myself, absolutely live. None of you could hear me. It was the best 5 minutes I've ever been talking about ever. Shame you've all missed it. But no, we were just going to be talking about Leicester transfers, news, gossip, whatever. Please get your comments and keep getting them in live, and we will try our best to react to them. Jay is there. Tripe Onion says, hello, is it me you're looking for? I'm not sure it is. We can hear you. Thanks, Carl. Listen, Carl, what I was talking about was transfer news and gossip. Players coming in, players coming out. What do you make to it? Is it panic stations at Leicester City? Ross says he can hear me. Thank you, Ross. Get your views in on the comments. Jamie, thank you. Keep getting them in. Great. Imtiaz, hope you're well. Imtiaz, what do you make of all these transfers coming in? Get your comments in there. Richie, I did read out your comment, but nobody could hear me. Please keep getting your comments in. Cullen Fox is saying about Hudson-Odoi. Leicester are rumoured in the last half an hour to be interested in him. What do you make to that? I want your views and comments on him. Lookman from RP Leipzig as well. Is that deal going to happen? Is that deal... I'm struggling to get too excited about it. Am I being wrong there? I feel a bit of a downer because Dennis Pratt today. I want your views and your comments in there. Glenn is saying he's just seen Junior Lewis in Lidl on Foss Road. I don't believe any of them until I see them wearing the shirt. I know, Andy. I know a lot of fans are like that. But listen, hey, this is Leicester Fan TV. We're going to have a gossip tonight, Andy. So if you can't take it, that is what we're going to talk about. Hamza Chowdhury looks like he could be going to Newcastle as well. Dennis Pratt going off to Torino. I sort of know what you get with Hamza Chowdhury and Dennis Pratt. You sort of know what you get. And I think they're both good enough to be playing for Leicester. Certainly think Dennis Pratt could be in the starting 11 most weeks. I really, really do. What do you think to that? And I'm not sure about some of the signings, whether they're going to do. Patrick says, isn't Lookman a left winger? We need a right winger. Get your views in. Do you agree with Patrick? What do you think about that? Reese says he's gutted about Dennis Pratt. Offers more probably than Maddison. I would agree with you, Reese. I really, really would at the moment. I'm a big Dennis Pratt fan. I'd have him in there. He's solid. He's just solid. And I think he helps Yuri Tielemans. But he's going to go. There's rumours of this ultimatum like we were talking about this morning. If we sign Lookman, says Ross, the best not take Panos after his one last year for Fulham. What do you think to Lookman? I'm not wowed. So I'm interested to get your views and comments in there. Here's a big one from Chris Gutteridge. You just see me poking over it. Let's see. He says, we're an injury hit left, right and centre, and we are sending players out on loan that can do a half decent job. And then we're looking out of players that got relegated with Fulham and can't get in the Chelsea side. Doesn't seem very good for a team that wants to push forward. Chris, you're probably on the same lines as my thinking, and it is only my thinking. Hey, listen, it doesn't matter what I think, it's what you guys think, but I know what I get with Dennis Pratt, and he plays, he's on the fringes or plays for the Belgian national side, who are, you know, FIFA ranked number 1, or they certainly were before the Euros. And Hamza Chowdhury is solid. I know what I get with those two players. You know, we're short at centre-back. Whatever anybody wants to say, we are short at centre-back. We let Christian Fuchs go quite rightly and Wes Morgan quite rightly. But Benkovic looks like he's not going to feature. You got Kaggs looks a bit of a mess. Can I say that? Are you allowing me to say that? Or are you going to jump on me? I think Kaggs looks a bit of a mess without Johnny Evans there. I thought he looked better with Bertrand and Vestergaard in there. But I think the two young lads, and Amati and Sonko, need somebody in there. Ronald is saying about Hudson-Odoi. Listen, he can't get in the Chelsea side. And is that what we're going for now? I was sort of hoping we're pushing onwards and upwards. But again, when you look at the business that some of the big four clubs are doing, we are not in that league. I'm to be convinced by you guys whether we've had a good transfer window or not at the moment. I'm not sure we have or not. Cags needs his hand holding, says Andy Medhurst. I agree with you on that. He does. I think that's the best way of putting it. Hand holding. LCFC Gray says Cags does look unstable. Look at Bardi, says Lee Baker. And Canty, there was nobody. Look at them now. Yeah, I get that, and I get that. If we're really trying to break this top 4 or 5 consistently, I'm not sure Lookman from RP Leipzig or from Fulham is the right move. Hey, listen, you guys probably know better than me if you rate him or not. So it'd be really, really good to know if what you think on that. I know Tom's going to get Tom in very, very shortly, but keep getting. I want as many of your comments coming in for me and Tom to react to. Ivan says, poor transfer window, bought non-starters so far, no improvement. It's a good point Ivan says there. Listen, some people will say, oh, you're going to give Dakar a bit of time to bed in. You've got to give Sumari a bit of time to bed in. Do you need players who can just start? I think that's what Ivan's saying. Would Lookman get in that starting side if he comes? That's an interesting one. That's why I quite like Ryan Bennett. Ryan Bennett. I've just said Ryan Bennett because Chris Gutteridge just put it there. Bertrand, I think, by the way, is the right sort of player, and Vestergaard, because they're proven in the Premier League. It's an interesting one. Lily says, watched Fulham a lot last season, and Lookman is quick and good finisher and a dribbler. Lily thinks he'd be a good addition. Mick saying, I think we're taking too much on. Get the training ground and new extending the stadium. This could be the detriment of the team. It's an interesting one, Mick. It's an interesting one. If we were to look at the net spend this summer, it's less than normal. Now, that's partly, I would say, because of the Champions League that we missed out on, and partly because we haven't sold anybody. Listen, let's get Tom in. Let's add him in. Here he comes.
Good evening, mate.
Tom, you still there?
Yes, mate, you're right.
Good, Tom. You and me, we're going to react to as many comments as we can in this next 15, 20 minutes. Chris Ward says, Hudson-Odoi is definitely to sign. What's your take on Hudson-Odoi? Good signing, bad signing, not sure.
Good potential. We've seen that at Chelsea, but again, can't get in the Chelsea team. So if you can't get in the Chelsea team, what's saying that you can get in this Leicester side as a starter? It's a no-brainer for me that, if we're going to sign cannon fodder from the top 4, what is the reason they're getting rid of them? Well, they don't rate them, so that they're fodding them off to anyone else who'll have them for a couple of seasons to try and get them into a better player. Don't get me wrong, Hudson-Odoi's got so much potential, but we said that about Damari Gray, and he never showed that potential. And look, fair play, Damari's shown that now for Everton, but I'm very 50 on Hudson-Odoi. I think there's a lot of potential there, but you'd have to turn up and start doing it from the beginning for me.
Tom, are we in danger of signing players who, again, are not quite proven yet, and people like Dakar, Sumari, people like this who you go, look, they're not going to just drop in the first starting 11 because they need time to bed in. They're young lads. I'm not making excuses. It's the fact.
I think if you're honest with you hit the nail on the head. Rodgers has already come out and said the likes of Dakar and Sumari have got to have a season to bed into this team and get used to the style and the fastness of the Premier League. What's a bit concerning that you spent money on these players, and for me, if you sign players, you expect them to be coming in and pushing the players in front of them and eventually getting into the team on a regular basis, because if you want Champions League football, what we all do, you've got to be getting better players than what we had before and upgrading what you've had before. And at the moment, you probably haven't done that in some ways. You haven't taken a player on like Manu when they needed midfielder. They went inside Bruno Fernandes, and we haven't got that kind of money to do that. But you know what I'm talking about. You upgrade what you had before. We're not really upgraded. We've gone probably level par on some of the players. If you look at Dakar, he's probably the same as Ian Atcho in some specs. Probably got to get his confidence in, and maybe you'll see the best of him. But Look, it's for me, it's a 50-50 with the transfer window. And I think the biggest say on it would have to be Vestergaard coming in. I actually don't think we would have signed a centre half until January or waited till James Tarkowski came available for free next year. I think we would have plodded along with the fit centrals we had, and that probably would have freed up a little bit more money to go out and sign this winger. Having to buy Vestergaard has probably brought that down, and also meant we've had to sell the young lad for 9 million, sell Pratt for 15 million to get yourself a bit of a kitty together to go and buy someone or find the funds to have them coming on loan.
Tom, lots of comments coming in. Please keep getting your comments in. I'm going to read a few and then I'll come back to Tom. Abdul says Iheanacho deserves a chance, in his opinion. Tom is nodding to that. If we don't get anyone, we should play Iheanacho. You do wonder what Iheanacho has to do to get a start, to be fair. Lee Clark says, should have let Fairy Legs Madison go rather than Pratt. Personally, Madison for me is one of the most overrated players I've seen in a City shirt. Okay, we'll come back to that one, Lee Clark. You're allowed to say. Joanna saying Bertrand will be great to watch week in, week out when he's back. I agree, Joanna. I think Bertrand is a decent signing and is good enough to play in that first team. I think we missed a trick not going for Lingard. Proven. Again, he is proven. And if he's available for 15 million, Tom, you're nodding your head there. The rumours, Tom, are Lookman or Hudson-Odoi all of a sudden tonight. It's going to be, it certainly wouldn't be both of them, would it?
No, it'd be one or the other for me. Lookman was the hottest prospect coming through the Charlton ranks. He was the hottest prospect coming through Everton once he got there, and he did all right. He then did what every player wants to do at that age. He wanted to play regularly and took the gamble and went abroad. He went to Leipzig. He spent 2 seasons there and then came back to Fulham last year on loan. There's a talented individual. The stats don't do it justice in some way from what everyone keeps going on about 4 goals and 4 assists. Oh, that's not good enough. If we look at, let me just get it up on my phone. I had it up earlier. I was looking at it. I was quite impressed considering. Biggest chances created in 2021-2020 season. Adam Lookman, 9. Jamie Vardy, 9. Mark Albright at 8. James Maddison only created 6 chances on big chances. Iheanacho, 6 big chances. So that's 3 more big chances than anyone else created in our, midfield in some ways. The kids excites me. If I'm honest, out of the 2, I'll take Lookman over Hudson-Odoi. I just think there's something about Lookman. I know when kids talk about he's right-footed and we always play the right foot on the left and let him cut inside. But what's this, if you look at Albrighton, he played out there at the weekend and he's right-footed. Maybe they're thinking now we've got to stop cutting back and crossing the balls in. We've got to actually go to the byline where the 2 goals have come from for Vardy by pulling the ball back and scoring that way, then cutting the ball, curling it in towards the goalkeeper. Most of the time, the centre half get their head on it. And we've looked, when someone put it in the comments area, he's very direct. He likes to run at people. He can finish. And it's just probably a little bit different winger to what we've got in some ways.
Tom, just a quick one here. Cullen Fox says top 4 won't sell to Leicester. He might well have a point there. I know that Chelsea, they would argue that if Chelsea did sell him, he obviously wouldn't play in that match. But I would think he's got a point there. I want you to react to a point here from Reese. It's a big one. There's a lot in there, but he's effectively saying at this stage of the season, is anything we do now all a bit panicky?
I think we've all said that why we left it to the last minute, but I honestly feel the massive injury to Fofana has hampered where we probably would have gone for this year. I honestly believe that, mate. I honestly feel we wouldn't have gone and got Vestergaard, and I think we would have tried to plod through with the centrals we had till at least January time, depending on Johnny Evans and how long he was going to be out from Christmas time when we could reevaluate. And I think us having to spend that 15 to 16 million, what they talk about Vestergaard, has hampered us. Because I think that extra 15 to 16 million would have gone on the right-hand side of the wing of what we were looking at. If you look now, we've sold players quickly and we're selling them because we know we haven't got the money. Rodgers even said, mate, pre-season, we haven't got a bottomless pit of money. But for some reason, beggars believe that fans think we can go out and spend and match in some ways the likes of the top 4, but we're not going to be able to in some ways.
I hear you then, Tom. I hear you. But if I said to you, we could sign a player today who's proven that he can handle the Premier League. He plays for an international side who are ranked number 1 in the world, and he plays with Dennis De Bruyne and all the other lads, you'd say, I like the sound of him, and I'd say, yeah, his name's Dennis Pratt. We already own him.
I'd said it this morning.
Tom, why, if the rumour is we're going to loan him, not even sell him, we're going to loan him, and then if it works out, sell him for 15 million euros. I'd buy Dennis Pratt every day of the week for 15 million euros, wouldn't you?
For me, the selling of Pratt is an absolute shame to the football club. It's a travesty. The bloke is a very good footballer. He's so composed on the ball. His defensive work is ridiculous. His vision is very good. We saw that with the goal at Brentford in the cup to thread it through an eye of a needle for the ball for Justin, for Nacho to score the volley. You know, I really think we've mucked it up here by selling Dennis Pratt. Now, look, there is two ways, Phil, we've got to look at it. One, as Pratt said, am I going to get any game time? If not, I want to go. Then fair play to him. If he wants to go, I can't, we can't hold a player for ransom. And Rodgers always said, I only want players who want to be at the football club. But on another note, if I was Pratt, and I'm looking at the other day, with 20 minutes to go when he brought on Dewsbury Hall, and he left Pratt sitting there on the bench. Pratt must be thinking, that's me done. If I can't get on in front of a kid,
he must be. Dennis Pratt must be watching Maddison perform very averagely, Perez perform averagely. I'm choosing on my words here. And like you say, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, I quite like what I've seen of him, but Dennis Pratt must be like, bloody hell, I'm a Belgium international and I'm not getting in this Leicester side. Something must have gone on, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, someone's put on there, I'd rather have Pratt over Maddison. I personally would. I said it. I've been slated on Twitter and Facebook for saying that, for me, over the 3 games, Maddison has done barely anything. And all you hear is, well, he set the goal up at West Ham, so he set one chance up, really. Bar that, all I ever see him do is fall on the floor and get tackled. I haven't seen the Maddison we saw last season. Beginning of last season, mate, of the first half of last season, Maddison was flying, absolute flying, created chances, scoring goals, making the team tick. Since Christmas, mate, he's a different player. He doesn't seem anywhere near the player he was. And again, we've seen that Ricardo, it took a long time for him to come back to the player he was after a nasty injury. But I just don't see this from Maddison. I just see a player who gets very frustrated. I saw it at the weekend, throwing his arms in the air when he wasn't getting given the ball by Tielemans on numerous occasions.
Who did that? Sorry, Tom.
Maddison chucking his hands over the air every time Tielemans was looking for a pass. If he didn't get it to Maddison, then he threw his hands up. Why don't you pass it to me? I just I don't get it. And someone put it in there about Nacho. The team ticked perfectly Saturday when we brought on Nacho, because he gives a different option, because he gets the ball and he isn't scared of turning and running at people. He isn't worried about getting fouled. The goal came from Nacho giving a 1-2, skipping past his man and looking for a 5-yard ball. I'd love to see Nacho start in more games. Definitely.
I mean,
but no,
Tom,
for me, Pratt should have stayed.
Darren says this: Maddison isn't as good as he thinks he is. My rebuff to that, Darren, is to you, Tom, is I wish Maddison was as good as he thinks he is.
I agree with you. I think there's another one of these players who's got a lot of potential in there. He's got all the skill, he's got all the tricks, he's got all the movement, but I don't see the footballing brain enough from him. And when he does do it, and we have seen him do it, he can play football, this kid. But I'm not seeing it enough in the back end of last season and the first 3 games of this season to justify why he should be starting at the moment. In front of Dewsbury Hall, who I think is probably in front of Maddison, in my opinion, at the moment, and should be playing in front of Maddison.
Tom, then Ian says here, if Rodgers is saying he only wants players who want to play for us, is he watching Maddison every week, or is he watching a different game?
I just think he just hopes that every time he plays in that extra game is going to get him back to where he was when Vardy and Maddison was tearing it up last season in the first 3 quarters of the season, really. And they were tearing it up. The game at Villa stands out to mind. Maddison scored, set another one up for Barnes. The home wins, there's a few when we did play really well. Maddison was tearing teams apart with his passing and laying in Vardy for chance after chance. So, look, every game he plays him, I think it's probably a hope that we'll see that Maddison back in the Leicester shirt.
Yeah, it's difficult. Lewis says here, Maddison out, Nacho in. Unfortunately, Tielemans and Maddison doesn't work. There's a few things here. Again, I'm not being critical. I'm trying not to be. But it is one of those where if we watch the games, like like they all do. We don't see the training, but you would look at Nacho as a player and his stats since Christmas, and you're going, he should be the striker starting. And when he comes on, he does seem to create a better team play. I would ditto that. I'm going to come back to Mark Albrighton because he obviously came on, he played for Norwich. I thought Mark Albrighton had a good, steady game against Norwich, Tom. I don't know if you agree with that, but as soon as Perez is back available, no doubt Mark Albrighton will get dropped.
Probably the situation. There is a comment here, Phil. I do want to just react to, mate. Daz put Maddison is a new dad. Let's not forget that. Right. Let me put it. Have you got it?
Yeah.
Daz, no disrespect, mate. I don't know if you're a father or non-father. Phil's done it being a father and bringing up kids. I've got two, and I've got a 16-month-old son. I have sleepless nights. I still have to go to work and perform. Otherwise, I'd get in trouble. And I'm not earning half the money James Maddison is earning every single week, being paid to be a professional footballer and go to training every day, gets fed every day by somebody and everything. I have to go to work, come home, cook dinner, sort my kids out and everything like that. So I'm not having this whole thing, he's a new father, because that's unfair to everyone else who has to go and do a 7 till 7 job or a 12-hour shift. You're an ambulance driver or a paramedic or a fireman or a policeman who have to go and do 12-hour shifts for half the money these boys are earning. And the thing what frustrates me when people say that is you're paying his wages by when you buy a season ticket or you buy merchandise and this, that and the other. So for me, that's not an excuse really to say he's a new dad. So because he's a new dad, he stays up a bit late and he's got the responsibilities that he doesn't perform on the pitch week in, week out. Now, I'm not having that, sadly. I'm just not having that as an option, mate.
I'm with you as well, Tom. I brought up 3 kids, ran my own business, done this for fun, and done. You know, we're all knackered. I still managed to go and play very bad five-a-side on Wednesday night as well. So let's. I just think, like you say, it's not good enough in there. LCFC Gray says Perez is still going to be not good enough when he comes back. Maybe. Seriously, what a load of crap, says Fee. Fee's getting upset. Him being a dad has nothing to do with it. I think that's interesting. Tom, Reese agrees with you, Tom. He says there. Mick says he was poor before he became a dad. There is that funny thing with, well, the whole COVID party, you know. And listen, I didn't want to turn this into a Maddison bashing, to be fair, or a Perez bashing.
Thing with mate, we've got to remember one thing. Perez helped set the goal of the FA Cup final, so give him a bit of credit. You know what I mean? He won the ball back, deflected to Thomas.
Jason says here, the Ginger Posty says, Brighton has always put in a shift for the shirt, one player who deserves legend status. But again, I would put Dennis Pratt in that. I think Dennis Pratt, a bit like Albrighton, for me, Tom, he always seems to, you know, you're going to get a 7 out of 10 with Dennis Pratt. You often get that 8 out of 10. But rarely goes to a 9 or a 10, but he is solid with Maddison. He can give you a 10 out of 10, as can Perez give you a 10 out of 10. We saw him away at Southampton in the 9-0. Perez can give you a 10 out of 10, but these lads can also give you 4 out of 10s.
Oh, look, at the end of the day, like you say, Albrighton, you very rarely get anything below a 7 out of 10 on his worst days. And I think it's like you said, Dennis Pratt is exactly the same. Mr. Consistent, that he does his job, what he's given to do. Now that's in the centre of the park, he'll do the defensive role. If that's on the right-hand side, like he played a couple of times this season, I think West Ham away, last season, Stoke in the Cup when he got injured, he was on the right. He does the job you ask him to do. And look, this is a Belgium international. He doesn't get in that Belgium squad, what's full of talent. Let's not forget that. It's full of talent and players knocking on the door to get in that squad if he wasn't good enough to be in there. So look, I don't want to get onto just Dennis Pratt show tonight because we know it's going to be what's going to happen with him. But for me, I think it's a massive, massive mistake by the football club letting him go at the last minute again. I'm more concerned once again we're coming out to the final, whatever it's 48 hours of the transfer window, and we're now going panicking because we haven't got that creative player in again.
Yeah, Adam says here, Pratt and Albrighton are players I love to see. As you know, they will give 200%. You even know if we're 5-0 down, they'll still work hard to win the ball back. I think this is the difference. I mean, this is what fans like to see. Fans will forgive anything if they think people give a monkeys, and we'll give it in there. Ian said, I put this on earlier, he says, why don't we give players like Pratt a chance? It is, Tom, it's one of those funny ones, isn't it? Listen, we're on 6 points out of 9, Tom, which is a decent start. The performance isn't there yet. We know that. But the points, the one thing is we've got the points on the board. But we have beaten a Norwich side who've been beaten 3 times, and bless them, probably are going to struggle this season. And Wolves, again, can't score. Wolves look like they might be in struggle time this season with a change of manager as well. Next one up is Man City. It's been a decent start, Tom, so I'm trying not to be too critical.
Look, I said it on my post-match review after Saturday win at Norwich. Look, the positives are it's 6 points out of 9 on the board. You've got to take that. You would have taken that before the season started. The downside is probably the goals we conceded at West Ham and how poor we look at the back at the moment and how sloppy Sancho's been since not having Johnny Evans playing next to him is probably the biggest concern for me, really. As for Wolves, mate, look, I know it's a last show, but look, for me, I've watched all 3 Wolves games now, and every single one, they could have won the game. Let's not forget that. They could have beaten Leicester at the King Power. If Adam Traore could finish his goals like he probably finishes his dinner off every day, then he'd be a very, very good player. But at the moment, he can't put the ball in the net, and that's why Wolves are struggling at the bottom of the table with no points. So Wolves will be all right this season for me. But the other positive to take, Ricardo Pereira was back to fitness and flying, and I think the tweet went out earlier from Ricardo saying it's not as serious as it had been, so that's a good note, and hopefully the 2-week break he can come back ready to go for Man City. Bar that, there isn't much positive out of the performances. We've not moved the ball quick enough, what we were doing last season. We're moving around the park too slow, and I think 2 weeks of hopefully with the boys being around the team who are there, getting the balls out on the training pitch, just kicking it around to each other, but moving that ball quicker around the park. For me, when we move it slow, we struggle against any team who sit defensively because they get the shape, it breaks us down. And we just don't know how to break teams down when we're not moving that ball quick enough. So 2 weeks now to try and sort it out. And look, touch wood that Johnny Evans is back in this 2 weeks' time, what they were talking about.
Yeah, indeed, Tom, indeed. Right, listen, we've got the last couple of minutes before I let Tom go. Can everybody do me a bit of a favour? If you're watching this live, which I know a lot of you are, we've got a lot of people watching tonight, which is great. Do us a favour, please. If you're on Facebook, drop us a like and a share now. Just do it. It takes 3 seconds. Thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button because we're trying to keep growing. If you can do that, it'd be great. And I'll keep putting as many comments up. I want to get Tom's views in a minute on Europa League. Robert says, these fellas are at the top of their dedicated career, paid wages that reflect that there are no excuses to put in a substandard performance. It's as simple as that, Robert. I think me and Tom both agree with you. Luke Thomas is undroppable right now, and not many players are undroppable. Reece maybe have a good point there. Tom, I want to ask you this one. Let's find it. It was about the Europa League. What are your thoughts on it, Tom? The games we've got. I mean, in a nutshell, I mean, this is why we need to sign players, Tom, in a way. Ricky says, good evening, lads. What are your thoughts on the Europa League matches? Trips to Moscow, trips to Warsaw, and trips to Napoli, obviously. There's a lot of matches there.
Mate, I said to you, and we said in the chat, I was a bit annoyed by the club in some ways from selling tickets before we knew we'd got in the group, in case we got like a load of teams who are playing in the Farmers League of their countries. And you can get that. We've seen it before. This group, for me, is one of the group of deaths in some ways with the quality of teams in there. There's no mugs in there for me. They're all proven, played in the Champions League, most of them have in the last 3 or 4 seasons. It's going to be a very, very tricky group to get out of. I'm not having anyone saying, oh, there's some easy teams. No, there's not. There's no easy teams in that group. Napoli, that we're joint favourites in the competition with them. So, funny enough, we get them in the same group to try and get us both through. And as for the other two, look, there's no easy way of going to Poland and trying to win a football match. The hostility of their crowd will be second to none. And the same with Russia. This is going to be all about those home wins. We've got to get the home wins this year, done and dusted. Same we did in the Champions League. Home wins are crucial, and then get points on the road to get you through and out of the group. And for me, what a way to start off the competitions. Was it 3 weeks on Thursday against Napoli at home? I mean, what a trip tie that is to open up the Europa League, or UEFA Cup, as I will still call it.
The Europa League, Tom. Come on, get with
UEFA,
it.
UEFA Cup.
Listen, I think that's my frustration, Tom. I am very excited about Europa League this season. I'm excited about the Premier League. I think we know what Hamza Chowdhury does, and it looks like he may well be loaned out. It looks like we know what Dennis Pratt does, and it looks like he definitely is going to be loaned and sold, I think. And they're two players who I would not have a problem dropping into the team for either a Premier League match, Europa League match, Cup match. They're players, we know what they do. And at the moment, we seem to have a few players, and we've not even mentioned Benkovic, Tom. Go on.
No, I'm just going to say that we were chatting about this in the group chat earlier, Benkovic. Why aren't we sold him? Why aren't we sold him? Let's put it in context. At the moment, we've only got 3 fit centre halves.
Yeah, but he won't play him, Tom.
Oh no,
he won't play him.
He would have to play him.
Loan him or sell him.
Yeah, but if you look at the moment, we've got 3 fit centre halves. That's not Vestergaard, mate. Vestergaard's not fit. So you've got Amati, Kags, and Benkovic. If one of those players was to get injured, Benkovic, I can guarantee you now, would have to play. He's got no other options. His hands are tied. And that's the reason we've not sold Benkovic or sent him on loan. Don't get me wrong. If hopefully Evans and Vestergaard are fit for Man City at home, and you've still got 5 of them defenders fit, centre-backs fit. Because we've seen last season, you only get 1 injury. For me, Benkovic will get cup games for me. I really feel he'll get some time in the cup competitions this year. I think that's where he will play. I really do.
Quick ones, Tom, then. Quick one-word answers. Do you think Daka will start in Europa?
Yes, I do, because I think he's had the experience of playing in there for his old club, and you've got to rotate the squad going into these Europa games. We're playing on a Thursday and a Sunday.
Another one, Tom, a quick one. Does anyone know if fans are allowed in from abroad?
They haven't announced it yet. I think it will all depend on the amber, green and red light things from each country of where we're allowed to go, or if we're allowed to go to each ground, or if they're allowed to come over here. So it'd be interesting to see on that one.
Lily says, please answer my question. Would you take Sarr from Watford?
Definitely. Pace, power, drive, determination, good at crossing the ball, knows where the net is. But we haven't got a spare 60-odd million what probably Watford are going to want from him.
Ben, I agree with your comments. I have noticed that. Some people said after us crumbling against West Ham last week, it was the first time they'd seen it under Brendan Rodgers, but I can think of at least 5 other instances in the last 18 months where we've done the same. So last couple of comments in here. Chris, I think that's the worst idea ever when you play Ndidi at centre-back personally, because his best position by far is as a central defensive midfielder. So it's like playing your best striker as a winger or a midfielder. It's silly.
I completely agree with you, Phil. Although he can play there and he's done a job there, we lose so much from the team by not having him in that position, because he's the one who gives the ball to Tielemans. I mean, Tielemans, everyone talks about Tielemans could play the Maddison role 10. Completely destroys Tielemans' game for me playing higher up the pitch. He's a bit like a quarterback. You're giving the ball in the 5-yard pass from Ndidi. He then dictates where the play is going to go from there. Him and Tielemans are crucial to the way Leicester play. Ndidi, Tielemans have to play next to each other. Look, they're taught that Sumari could play higher up. You got Pratt, but they even talk about you sign this kid that Sumari can play higher up the pitch. Rodgers even said, and he sees him playing higher up the pitch because he has got goals when he was playing for Lille last season. So you've got that option as well.
Chris says he must prefer Mendy over Pratt. Actually, Chris, what I think it is probably Mendy's more prepared to sit on the bench and take a wage. Yes. Yeah, but
I think he would have gone, mate. I think he would have gone. I generally feel if Mendy hadn't picked up the injury playing for his international team, Senegal, is it? He was playing for. I think generally feel he would have left the football club at this time with Hamza.
I'm laughing partly at the comment and partly at Bog Sniffer Bruce's actual Facebook name here. And I totally disagree with him when he says should play around the back more. I think he's having a laugh there. And then he should play centre back ahead of Kags, then Kieran Dewsbury Hall or Sumari in midfield. Yeah, Chris, I'm not sure about that comment either. I'm not sure I agree with that. Ivan's having a good old. It's lovely to have Ivan back.
It is.
Good lad, Ivan. He's having a good old moan, which is lovely. He says he picked Henderson over Grealish. Brendan picks Perez over everyone. Thanks, Ivan. Please join us again. I love Ivan's comments, so we want him here, and Patrick Hooks as well, because they make me feel optimistic. So thanks, Patrick, and thanks, Ivan. Imran said, let's be honest, the whole team just don't look fit enough at the moment. We keep getting overrun in the games so far. Now, I was speaking to somebody who used to wear the number 5 shirt for Leicester City back in the 90s, and he said something pretty much the same. He was worried about the fitness. I'm obviously not going to say who that was, but he was questioning their fitness levels. Neil, last few comments, he says, bottom line is Pratt made it clear that he wanted to play given his age, and Brendan has respected that. That is one way of looking at it. But if you ask me, he should respect it by putting him in Leicester's first team. But anyway, Tom, this week, you're live. Are you doing a live on Thursday?
No prediction show this week, mate. International duty, so week off for me.
Beat up week this week. I know Jack is live on Wednesday with Holly Morgan because it's an international break. Like you say, he's chatting with the Leicester City women's team. I think she's assistant manager to Jonathan Morgan, and she is on his show on Wednesday night. So, Tom, listen, it's been great to get you back on Monday night. We must do it again, please.
Mate, more than welcome to come back on you, and it's great as always to have a chat. And like I say, the show is for the fans, by the fans. We're here, we always put your views on. We want your say at the end of the day. So it's great debate on a Monday night. You know, tomorrow, as always, I'm praying that we will go live at some point during the day with some transfer news. I really hope so, Phil, because I'll be gutted if we get to 6 o'clock tomorrow night and we're all looking going, oh, we haven't signed someone. But remember, if we sign someone, we will be live. Phil will put that live button up straight away, wherever he is, even if he's in the lecture hall.
As soon as there is anything that breaks, we will go live tomorrow. I am one of those, Tom. I wish we were signing a name like a Lingard, somebody like that. Actually, I think, yeah, I know what you get from him, and he can play at the top, and there's a reason he's been at Man United for that long, and he would make our team stronger. Some of these, I'm being honest, Daka, I can't say too much yet because I haven't seen much of him. Sumari, I can't say whether he can handle the Premier League yet. Lookman, I'm not sure about. Hudson-Odoi, again, we could go on and on all night, Tom. Listen, thanks a lot for joining us. Yeah, I reckon Jack will be down there. Get banged as soon as Jack will from down there. Listen, thanks, Tom, for joining us, and thanks mostly everybody for watching. It's been great to get all your comments in.
No problem. Thanks as always, guys, and I'll chat to you soon.
Cheers, Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors: ADT Taxis, Everard's, Pucka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hologram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, and Hope Against Cancer. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.